morning and welcome back to another video. I am doing another week of me in the lab. Today's Monday, it's about 8 a.m. right now and I just arrived. It's been ages since I did this, so yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm just heading to my office upstairs. It's a nice start to the week. It's really sunny. Hi, I'm Karen. I am a pre-doc in the Nobori lab at the Sainsbury lab in Norwich, which is a research institution focused on plant diseases and interactions between plant and microbes. Since it's Monday, I'll probably start with just looking through my notes from last week. A lot of things changed in the last week and we're probably going to switch to like a new protocol. Although I planned experiments this week, I'm not going to do any of them anymore. I'll need to wait for my supervisor to come in and then I'll probably have a meeting and discuss what's going to happen. In the meantime, I have some samples that I can work on right now, so I might do that. A pre-doc, which stands for predoctoral researcher, is a research internship where you get to join one of the groups in the Norwich Research Park. As a pre-doc, you're given your own project, which allows you to gain valuable research experience. If things go well between you and your group, the pre-doc could also become a PhD. But also having a year gives you more time to think about the next steps, explore opportunities to apply to different places, such as PhD programs, both here and elsewhere. In the Nobori lab, we're interested in understanding the interactions between individual plant cells and microbes. To do this, our lab has been developing a technology to make a map of where multiple different types of plant cells and microbes are located along a plant root. I've been taking part in this project as a pre-doc. For me, it's been a great opportunity to learn lots of new skills and techniques that I've been interested in. Also attend a lot of interesting seminars, getting to know the lab, the people, the work culture and the research environment, and also what it's like to live in Norwich. I just finished lunch. Now I'm heading back to the office. I have a meeting with my supervisor. I applied to this pre-doc in April 2025 when I was doing my master's degree. After I completed my master's, I moved to Norwich at the beginning of September last year. Norwich is a cathedral city in Norfolk, which is in England. It's located northeast of London, about 2 hours from London by train. It's a nice, cute medieval city, and it has a cathedral that was built over 900 years ago. There's a nice market. You can find most things in the city centre, but the Norwich Research Park is located a bit far out from. Now that the weather is becoming better, I'm actually starting to enjoy living here a lot more than I used to. It's a bit inconvenient sometimes because you have to cycle to most places unless you want to rely on the bus or you have a car. Having to cycle in the rain and the wind and the cold could be rather miserable. But apart from that, there's a lot of greenery, there's a lot of large fields, lots of rabbits. It's also very quiet here.
Sometimes even when you do everything perfectly, you can still explode. You do hot, cold, explodes.
Really?
Yeah, and until like the microwave.
My routine is pretty much the same on most days. I usually wake up by 6:30 at the latest. I prepare breakfast, which usually consists of salad, bread and eggs. After I eat, I just get ready and leave just before 8 because usually the roads are quieter around this time. And also I love cycling down the slope that goes through the university.
Good morning. It's a Tuesday. I didn't sleep that well yesterday. It's another sunny morning. It's amazing. Today's gonna be a bit of a slow day. I won't do any experiments in the morning. I need to prepare some slides for the talk I'm doing next week. And then in the afternoon, I plan to do some experiments with the bacteria that I prepared yesterday. It's more like just preparation really than an experiment. I am heading to a seminar. Today is Tuesday and we usually have a weekly internal seminar.
I met Tatsuya, my current supervisor, for the first time when I was a master's student. Tatsuya was an invited speaker by Seb, my supervisor at the time. It was the first seminar that I attended since I started my master's project. I was so intrigued by the Nobori group's technology, but at the time I was applying for PhD projects on mycorrhizal fungi, which originally I really wanted to work on, but turns out my grades were too low and all my other applications also failed, so I was quite lost at some point, which was when this pre-doc position had come up. So I decided to apply. Tatsuya is also originally from Japan, but I didn't actually speak to him in Japanese until more than 3 months since I joined. I was thinking of all sorts of ways to try and speak to him in Japanese at some point, but then it just ended up happening. I was speaking to someone else in Japanese in our common room when he walked in, and that was sort of how I unlocked the Japanese. I don't really know how to use the correct formal Japanese. It depends on who you're talking to, I guess, but some people really care about the hierarchies and the formalities. For example, one thing that I still can't get used to is referring to people's names using their surnames, not their first names. Now that I've unlocked Japanese in our weekly one-to-ones, I can sort of choose which language to use depending on how I'm feeling that day. If I walk into his office and say hello, the whole meeting would be in English, but if I walk in and say konnichiwa, the meeting ends up being in Japanese. It's definitely not been as intimidating as I used to think.
End of Tuesday. It feels like a Wednesday today. Yeah, it was a nice day. I prepared my samples for the experiments this week. I'm doing a new protocol, so I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but let's see. It's such a beautiful day. I'm now gonna head to the pool. Today it's gonna be 50 meters because it's a Tuesday.
Instead of swimming in the morning, now I swim after work. Since moving to Norwich, I got myself a smartwatch, which has been such a game changer because now I can record my swim. I do the same thing every day, which is 2 kilometers non-stop, which takes me about 36 minutes. For me, swimming is actually more for mental stability than maintaining my physical health, because literally being in the water means I have to try hard to breathe. So it forces me to eventually forget about things, no matter how bad the day was, like getting PhD rejections and having experiments that doesn't work. It also works the opposite way, where sometimes when something good happens, I try to remind myself to stay calm and not get too ahead of myself. And that's why I need to go swim unless the swimming pool is actually closed.
Good morning. It's a Wednesday. There's a lab meeting in the morning. I have to do a practice presentation for a talk I'm doing next week. And of course I haven't finished my slides. There's something I came up with while I was in bed that I want to put in, but I haven't implemented that yet. So instead of talking, I should probably be doing that right now. I have about like an hour and a half until the lab meeting. So let's do this. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I booked the piano since I finished my presentation. Just gonna go play the piano for a bit. Okay, there's no one in here. That's good.
Biggest changes since I moved to Norwich is that I picked up the piano again after more than 5 years. I discovered that I can actually book the piano at the auditorium in a research park, and it's this tiny grand piano. Whenever I have an incubation and need a coffee break, I sometimes come to this piano. Even just playing for a bit is enough to just refresh my mind completely. It sounds so beautiful that it literally melts me each time. I think playing this piano in this auditorium has a similar feeling to singing in the shower, because I'm alone in this big auditorium with no one else. Pieces that I've been learning recently is called Un Sospiro by Liszt, which means a sigh. Funny story, there was this couple in my year during high school. The girlfriend had uploaded the Instagram story where the boyfriend was playing this piece for her. I still remember seeing that and thinking how nice it would be to have someone who would play such a beautiful piece for you. I really wish I'm better at playing.
Another day over, now I'm heading to the pool. I didn't end up doing any experiments today. I'm waiting for a set of probes to arrive at the moment. So in the afternoon I was just reading some stuff.
I feel like time has slowed down a lot more since I moved to Norwich. Now that I look back, I honestly think I was going a bit crazy, because before, my days used to be packed. Like in my undergrad, I always felt like there was something I needed to do. I had lectures throughout the weekdays, most of which I honestly did not understand. I just had to wake up every morning to finish my lecture notes. We had courseworks in parallel, so I spent most of my weekends revising lecture materials for exams, and especially catching up on topics that I just could not understand, also finishing coursework. That sort of just continued into my master's, because although I didn't have any lectures, my routine was still about the same. Like I would wake up early, work, swim, lab work, dinner, work. I never actually went in on the weekends, but I was still doing data analysis or preparing presentations or doing some other stuff at home. At the same time, I was also doing a lot of other things as well, like going to concerts and meeting people in between those times. So in a way, my days used to feel a lot fuller. I never really questioned this whole thing. In fact, I used to think that even that was not enough, because at the end of the day, my grades were still not enough. Like, what's the point, you know? but honestly speaking, I think I might have gotten a bit burned out from all of it, because nowadays I really cannot wake up in the morning, so I can't do anything to start my day. And I'm also building a lot of unnecessary habits over time, like scrolling through my phone, and like because I haven't been able to function like I used to be able to, I still feel guilty all the time about how I'm definitely not doing enough. But I was discussing this with one of my uni friend recently, who's now doing a PhD. She also mentioned how it took her quite a while to actually come to terms with slowing down. One of the good things about being a pre-doc here is that apart from submitting applications, there are no immediate deadlines and reports that you have to submit, which means that I've been able to focus a lot more on my day-to-day lab work and things that are in front of me, which has been a great help. And although everything feels a lot slower now and I have not been doing as many activities as I used to, I think overall I've become a bit more relaxed.
End of Thursday. I'm quite exhausted and I'm quite hungry. Morning. It's a Friday. It's a bit of a rush, but I have a meeting from 8:30. It's for my future project, so I'm a bit nervous, but that's that. I forgot to prepare liquid culture yesterday, which is a bit of a problem. If the microscope's open, I'm gonna do some microscope, but otherwise, some more reading, I guess.
What do you think of AI? This is something I've been thinking about quite a lot lately, but personally, I think AI is eventually going to become unavoidable anyways. So for me, I've been trying to learn how to use it responsibly, learning ways to prompt it effectively so that I can get the answers I need right away. Also, drawing a clear boundary in my head as to when and where I should actually use it and where I should rely more on myself. Well, I currently use 4 different AI chat boxes. Of course, ChatGPT. I use it mainly for writing emails, correcting sentences, also as an emotional counselor. In our lab, a lot of people use Qlowdy, especially for coding. This has actually been quite fun to learn as well. Recently, I've also started using Perplexity, mainly to find papers and explore different protocols. I also started exploring Gemini as well, because I keep a journal and also write diaries, which are all on my Google Drive. Gemini, being a Google tool, can access all my documents. I can ask them to go through my notes and help me revisit some of the thought processes that I had in the past. Right now, I want to get really good at using AI to its full potential. But what are your thoughts? One of the things that I really like about TSL is that there's so many seminars every week, especially the Friday seminars where they invite speakers to give intriguing talks. Also, the students have the opportunity to have lunch with these speakers. For me personally, these times have been one of my favorite moments, because these speakers would open up about how they got into science, how they ended up where they are today. They also share their views on work-life balance, challenges of doing research in different countries, and these conversations have been so inspiring to gain new perspectives and insights.
I am so annoyed. The experiment I was running didn't work. It was meant to work and it did not work. Like, why? But yeah, anyways, plans have changed. So now I'm just gonna do some other things instead. It's the end of the week. I had meetings at the end of the day. Now I'm heading to the pool. Yeah, my experiments did not work, which is not a nice way to end the Friday, but at least the sun is out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy your day. See you soon.